My beloved child, there are many days when you walk through long hours, carrying within your heart a weariness that is difficult to name. You may think that this exhaustion comes from your work, from the people around you, or from the responsibilities that rest heavily upon your shoulders. Yet I look deeper into your soul and see another cause. Your mind has been filled with too many voices. The voices of worry, of unnamed fears, of quiet comparisons with others, and of the pressure to prove that you have value, all swirl together like a restless wind, until you can no longer recognize that in the midst of that noise, there has always been a gentle call. That call is mine. I do not call you to compete with the countless sounds of the world. I call you to draw your soul out of that confusion, so that you may rediscover the quiet place within your heart where I have long been waiting for you. You see, the world continually teaches you that you must run faster, accomplish more, and prove that you deserve to be seen. It tells you that your worth is measured by your achievements, by recognition, and by how much you are able to accomplish. Yet I tell you something different. Your value does not begin with what you do, but with the simple reality that you exist within, my love. The world urges you to speak louder so that you may be heard and to compete so that you may be noticed. But I invite you into stillness so that you may hear what truly matters. There are truths that are never spoken in the noise. They are entrusted only to souls who know how to pause. You have become accustomed to living among the many voices of the world, the noise of relentless news, the images and words that lead you to compare yourself with others, the whispers that tell you that you are not enough. But I desire that you hear another voice, the gentle voice that reminds you that you were loved before you accomplished anything, that you were chosen before you proved yourself, and that you are sent into the world to carry light rather than to chase after recognition. My child, there are times when you think that your unrest comes only from events outside of you. But I know that often the greatest turbulence lies within your own mind. Old memories that have not yet been healed, mistakes for which you continue to blame yourself, and the endless what-if questions that return like the long shadows of evening. All of these form a quiet inner noise that prevents your soul from resting. Yet I remind you that you were not created to live beneath the weight of those voices. You were created to live in my presence. When you draw near to me, the sounds that trouble your heart begin to grow still, much like a lake that becomes calm when the wind ceases. And within that quiet water, you begin to see the sky reflected, the sky of hope that I have already prepared for you. Pose for a moment. My child, in the midst of the rhythm that carries you forward, amid the many plans and responsibilities that fill your days, allow your soul a place to rest, not to escape life, but to remember the source of your life. My voice does not come like thunder, nor does it push and compete like the voices of the world. It comes like a gentle breeze passing across a field at dawn, so subtle it might seem fragile, yet powerful enough to stir the deepest places of your being. If you are willing to become still, you will discover that I have never left you. I am there in every breath you take, in every moment when you believed you were most alone. And when you begin to hear my voice, you will understand that peace is not a reward waiting at the end of all your troubles. Peace is the foundation that allows you to stand firm even while many things remain unresolved. Remember a story that many souls have heard but few have truly understood. When I sent the prophet Elijah to Mount Horeb, he was running in fear and despair. He believed that I would reveal myself in great power, in a mighty wind that tore through the mountains, in an earthquake that shook the earth, in a blazing fire. Yet I was not in those loud displays. After the wind, the earthquake, and the fire had passed, there came a soft whisper, a gentle stillness that could almost be missed. And it was in that quiet moment that Elijah recognized my presence. My child, that story was not written for him alone. It was written for you as well. For I still speak in that same way, not through overwhelming noise, but through a tenderness that only listening hearts can perceive. Do not mistake peace for a life without storms. The winds may still rise, unexpected events may still unfold, and the world will continue to move with its many uncertainties. Yet true peace does not depend on whether the sea is calm or restless. Peace is knowing who is in the boat with you. When you realize that I am holding you, fear begins to lose its power. Fear narrows your vision until you see only what your eyes can measure. But peace expands your soul so that you can see through faith. In fear, you attempt to control everything. In peace, you learn to surrender. And in surrender, you begin to walk in the freedom that I intended for you from the very beginning. I know that keeping peace in the midst of a chaotic world is not easy. Every day you are drawn into arguments, comparaison, and pressures that demand immediate reaction. But I have not called you to live according to that hurried rhythm. I invite you into a different rhythm, the rhythm of awareness that I am here. When you allow your soul to become quiet, you will hear my gentle yet powerful declaration, you belong to me. Not because you are perfect, not because you have done everything right, but because I chose to love you long before you understood that love. My child, guard this peace as one would guard the most precious treasure. Peace does not remain if it is left unprotected. Your mind is like the gate of a city. If anything is allowed to enter without discernment, confusion will soon spread throughout the streets. Therefore, be mindful of what you permit to remain within your thoughts. A single careless word, an old memory, or a passing piece of troubling news can plant seeds of unrest within you. Yet if you choose instead to sow trust within your soul, you will harvest a deep peace that the world cannot comprehend. Remember that the peace I give is unlike anything the world can offer. It does not depend on favorable circumstances, nor does it disappear when difficulties arise. My peace is like the deep roots of a tree hidden beneath the soil. The wind may shake its branches and the rain may strip away its leaves. Yet life remains secure below the surface. When you abide in me, your soul is anchored to a source that will never run dry. If one door closes, I will open another. If you feel lost, I still know the road that leads you home. And even when the world declares that you have failed, in heaven, I still call you chosen. Therefore, my beloved child, return to my voice, not only once, but day after day. When the noise of the world grows louder, remember that your soul was created for the quiet of heaven. When you return to that place, you will discover that peace has never been far away. It has always been there, waiting for you. And as you begin to live within that peace, you will walk through the world like a small lamp, never needing to be loud, yet shining brightly enough to guide your own steps and to illuminate the path for other souls who are searching for their way home. My beloved child, allow your soul to become still once more before I continue speaking to you. For there are truths that can only be understood when your heart no longer rushes and your mind is no longer swept away by the waves of the world. You have long been taught that peace is the reward given to those who do everything correctly, to those who manage to control their lives and arrange everything according to their plans. Yet I tell you a deeper truth. Peace is not the result of control, but the fruit that grows when you place your trust in me. When you try to hold everything tightly, your heart grows weary with the fear of losing it. But when you place everything into my hands, your soul begins to experience freedom. Peace does not wait until every problem disappears before it arrives. It comes the moment you realize that you were never meant to carry everything alone. And so, when I tell you to be still and know that I am God, I am not merely offering wise counsel, I am opening before you a doorway into another place. A place where your soul finds rest, where the storms of anxiety no longer have the power to overthrow you. Do you see? What causes many souls to grow weary is not always the darkness of sin, nor the strength of adversity, but the relentless pace that the world has placed upon their shoulders. People hurry from one thing to another, afraid that if they pause, they will be left behind, afraid that if they slow down, they will be forgotten. And in the midst of that endless running, they forget something simple yet profound. I have never left them behind. I do not move far away so that you must chase after me. I do not stand in some distant place that forces you to exhaust yourself searching for me. I simply wait for you to pause. When you stop, when you take a deep breath and allow your soul to settle into stillness, you will discover that I have been there all along, nearer than the rhythm of your own heartbeat. When you ask where I am, often the answer is not that I have gone far away, but that you have stood too long within the swirling winds of anxiety and can no longer hear my voice. My voice does not push. It does not compete. It is like the gentle breath of the morning, always present, yet only recognized by the souls who are willing to listen. Remember the story of the prophet Elijah that I mentioned to you before. He stood upon the mountain waiting for me in powerful signs, a wind so strong that it tore through the rocks, the trembling of the earth beneath his feet, and a blazing fire rising fiercely before him. Yet I was not in those things. Only after the great sounds had passed did a soft whisper move through the air, and in that quietness he recognized my presence. My child, that story is not merely a memory from the past. It is a lesson for every generation. I still come to you in the same way. I do not always speak through thunder that startles the heart or overwhelms the senses. More often I speak through a quiet nearness that only a still soul can perceive. My beloved child, continue listening with an open heart, because what I am teaching you is not a passing comfort, but the way of life your soul was created to walk. You often think that peace will appear when every circumstance around you becomes favorable, when problems are resolved, when the people who have hurt you change, or when the future becomes clear and predictable. Yet I tell you a deeper truth. True peace is not born from avoiding the trials of life, but from remaining in me in the midst of those very trials. When your soul abides in me, you enter a different atmosphere, one that the world cannot create and cannot fully understand. Within that atmosphere, the things that once seemed able to break you become places where my power is revealed. Circumstances that once made you tremble become moments where you witness my faithfulness. When you choose to trust me in the middle of what you do not yet understand, you step into the reality of the kingdom of heaven, where fear has no authority and chaos cannot reign. Peace in me is like a quiet but enduring strength, like deep waters flowing beneath dry ground, unseen and silent, yet strong enough to nourish an entire field. In that stillness you begin to sense that an unseen power is surrounding your soul, a power before which the forces that try to frighten you must withdraw, because they cannot reach the place where I dwell. You must understand something very important. Peace is not a reward I give after you have overcome every trial, nor is it a temporary gift reserved for seasons of ease. Peace is the inheritance you receive when you live in me. It is not something you must chase after. It already exists within the relationship between you and me. When you abide in me, peace is not merely a feeling, but the living presence of me within your soul. Yet to experience it, you must learn to live within that atmosphere each day. This does not happen automatically. It requires you to guard your heart like a faithful watchman at the gate. You must refuse the whispers that tell you that you have been abandoned. You must close the door to thoughts that sow anxiety and doubt. And you must be careful with the noise that the world continually tries to pour into your mind. When you do this, you are not only preserving peace, you are stepping deeper into union with me. Within that union, my spirit surrounds you like protective arms, and you begin to see everything from a different perspective, not through fear or hurried reactions, but through clear discernment that comes from above. I also want you to understand that your journey does not end with receiving peace for yourself alone. I am training you to become a bearer of peace in the world. When you walk among people who are filled with anxiety, Your presence, if it is connected with my presence, will become a place of rest for weary souls. You do not need to speak great words or prove anything through your own strength. Simply remain in me, and the atmosphere of heaven will follow you wherever you go. Those who are suffering may feel hope when they are near you. Those who are confused may discover clarity through a conversation with you, just as a small candle can soften the darkness of an entire room. Your soul, when it carries my light, can transform the atmosphere around you without making noise. I know that the world will still try to stir your heart through information that breeds worry, through comparisons that shake your confidence, and through pressures that try to make you forget who you truly are. But you no longer belong to that atmosphere. I have brought you into another one, where the laws of heaven are at work. In this atmosphere, you speak with faith instead of fear. You respond with love instead of anger. And you look toward the future with hope rather than despair. I am doing a new work within your heart, a work that human effort alone could never produce. The peace I place inside you is not a fragile quietness that can easily be broken, but a steady strength capable of standing in the midst of storms. It does not remove every challenge from your path, but it enables you to walk through those challenges with a heart that does not tremble. When you live within this atmosphere, your decisions begin to change. You no longer choose out of fear, but out of a calm that flows from heaven. And within that calm, you begin to hear more clearly the true calling of your soul, the calling that was once buried beneath too much noise. When your mind is cleansed from endless comparison, arguments, and inner conflict, you start to recognize the purpose I placed within you long ago. Peace becomes the sacred space where you hear me most clearly. In that space, there remains only the harmony between you and me, like two streams merging into one in love and trust. One day you will realize that my peace is not only a place where your soul can rest, it is also a weapon through which you overcome. The world often believes that victory comes through loud strength, through control, or through struggle. But my way is different. I triumph through a quiet power. When you maintain peace, you become steady in situations that cause others to panic. When you keep peace, you can see truth when others are blinded by fear. Peace allows you to hear what I am saying, while the world hears only noise. For this reason, the enemy constantly tries to pull you out of that atmosphere. He knows that when you lose peace, you become easier to shake. But when you keep it, you stand in the place where the power of my spirit surrounds you. And in that place, you are not easily overcome. The new atmosphere I am placing around you is not something distant. It lives within your soul whenever you choose to dwell in my presence. Learn to breathe in that atmosphere throughout every moment of your day. Let it flow into your words, into the way your eyes look upon others, and into every small action you perform, even when no one is watching. When you live in peace, you become a living testimony that heaven is not merely a distant place beyond death, but a reality that can be touched within the heart of anyone willing to listen. When the world grows restless, you remain gentle. When those around you are swept away by fear, you remain steady. When circumstances change, you still stand firm, because your foundation is not built upon the shifting sand of emotions, but upon the solid rock of my presence. But my child, remember that peace is not something that can be secured once and then kept forever without care. It is more like a garden that must be tended day after day. Each morning when you awaken, the world sends countless voices toward your soul, news that stirs anxiety, old memories that weigh upon your heart, and speculations about the future that awaken unease within you. All these things attempt to crowd into your mind in order to steal the treasure I have placed within your heart. Therefore, you must learn to value peace the way a guardian protects a precious jewel. A single moment of neglect can allow those noises to blur the sound of my voice. Peace is not merely a reward waiting at the end of the journey. It is a companion that walks beside you every day. You must learn to preserve it not only in moments of prayer, but also in the midst of difficult conversations, in the rush of daily work, and in those moments when your heart is easily wounded, when others react in anger. Choose gentleness. When you are misunderstood, choose wise silence rather than argument. When worry rises within you, choose trust instead of frantic calculation. Each of those small choices is like another stone laid upon the wall that protects your soul. And stone by stone, that wall will guard the treasure of peace that I placed within you from the very beginning. My beloved child, when I teach you to walk in the quietness of the soul, I am not saying that the path will always be smooth or easy. There will still be days when the winds of life blow fiercely, moments when the pressures of the world push you toward crossroads that shake your heart. Yet I tell you this, the path of guarding peace is always more valuable than any victory the world celebrates. For in a world filled with turmoil, the one who preserves stillness within the soul carries the mark of the kingdom of heaven. Peace is not simply a fleeting, pleasant feeling. It is a sign that I dwell deeply within you. When peace takes root in your heart, it becomes a key that opens the door to wisdom. Through it, you begin to see what others cannot see, to recognize the path forward when the souls around you remain confused, and to respond with love when many react only with anger. Peace is the quiet evidence that your soul is no longer guided by the noise of the world, but by my presence within you. Therefore, I teach you to guard this peace as a watchman stands at the gate of a sacred city. A fortress does not fall only because the enemy is strong. Many times it falls because the gate was left unguarded. Your soul is no different. The things that disturb your inner stillness rarely arrive like a violent storm from the beginning. They usually enter through small cracks that go unnoticed. A trace of resentment, a moment of envy, a passing thought of self-pity. Each of these can become an opening through which unrest enters. When such emotions remain within you too long, they begin to dim the light that lives inside your heart. Yet every time you choose trust instead of worry, every time you release bitterness instead of holding tightly to it, you strengthen the walls that protect the sanctuary of your soul. Peace is not something that remains by itself forever. It must be nourished through the quiet decisions you make each day. Remember that your soul is like a garden. If it is not tended with care, weeds will grow and cover the flowers. My peace is like the hidden water that nourishes the soil of that garden. It grows stronger when you begin the day with sincere prayer, when you pause for a deep breath in the middle of a busy hour, and when you choose silence rather than joining arguments that lead nowhere. There are victories that the world never notices. Yet, to me, they are precious beyond measure, moments when you keep gentleness within your heart, even though tension surrounds you. When you learn to treat peace as the very breath of your soul, you will no longer allow small disturbances to steal it away. My child, you must also understand that your life is not merely a series of meaningless days passing by. Each day is a spiritual journey in which light and darkness both seek to influence your soul. Along that journey, peace is one of the most powerful weapons I have given you. Many people believe that strength is found in loud voices, in fierce resistance, or in actions that attract attention. Yet the true enemy trembles before a quiet soul. A peaceful spirit is not easily deceived, nor easily pulled away from the path that has been prepared. When you stand firmly within that peace, every false word loses its weight, just as darkness disappears when light enters the room. Peace is also the invisible thread that connects you with me. In the stillness of the soul, my voice is heard most clearly. When your mind is crowded with worry, the words I speak to you become harder to hear, not because I have stopped speaking, but because your heart has become too full. Yet when you return to quietness, your soul becomes like the calm surface of a lake reflecting the sky above it. In that moment, you begin to realize that I have always been there, guiding each of your steps, whether you noticed it or not. Only a few moments in my presence are enough to renew your spirit, just as a gentle rain restores a field that has been dry for a long season. Remember a story in Scripture that many read, yet seldom ponder deeply. When my disciples crossed the sea by boat, a fierce storm arose and filled them with fear. The waves grew high, the wind roared, and they believed everything was about to end. Yet I was in the boat with them, and I slept in perfect peace. When they woke me in their panic, I simply stood and spoke a word, and the wind and the waves fell silent. My child, the true meaning of that moment is not only the miracle itself, but the lesson hidden within it. My peace does not depend on whether the sea is calm, even while the storm is still raging. My presence alone is enough to bring quietness to the soul. If you allow me to remain in the boat of your life, you will learn how to remain calm even when the waves of the world rise around you. But I also want you to understand that peace is not something meant to be kept only for yourself. When your soul becomes a dwelling place of quietness, that light will naturally radiate outward. Others may not understand why you remain gentle when they are tense, or why you remain patient when everything becomes tangled and confusing. Yet deep within their hearts, they will sense something different about you, the breath of heaven. Your gaze may become a source of comfort for someone who is weary. Your words may soften another person's anger, and your presence may quietly transform the atmosphere around you into something lighter and more hopeful. My child, each morning when you awaken, I want you to remember that you have the power to choose what will reign within your heart. You may allow worry to rule the new day, or you may decide to hold firmly to the peace that I have given you. When you tell yourself that today, you will walk in the stillness of your soul, you are laying a firm foundation for everything that follows. Challenges will come, and there will be words that try to shake your heart. Yet every time you return to peace, you are winning a battle that many people never even realize exists. Understand this well: to guard your peace is to guard your place within me. When you preserve it, you preserve the power of discernment, the light of faith, and the deep connection with the source of eternal life. And when you live within that connection, you begin to realize that you are not truly lacking anything. You may not yet see every promise fulfilled before your eyes, yet you know that I am working within all things. Peace, my child, is not merely the quiet space between the storms of life. It is like a hidden flame burning steadily within your soul, even when strong winds pass through. Trials may still come, but they no longer have the authority to define who you are. When your soul rests in me, you begin to see everything through the light of faith, and the things that once frightened you become like passing winds across a wide and open field. It is this very peace that will enable you to love even when you have been wounded. It will give you the strength to forgive rather than nurture bitterness, and to keep a gentle heart in a world that can sometimes feel cold. When peace lives within you, you will no longer feel the need to win every argument or prove yourself right before others. You will learn the quiet strength of silence, the grace of softness joined with unwavering resolve. But when peace leaves your heart, even the smallest matters can begin to feel heavy. A careless word may wound you deeply. A small delay may cause discouragement, and your spirit may become easily shaken. Such moments are signs that you have drifted from your true foundation. Peace is not a passing emotion that comes and goes. It is an inheritance that I placed within your soul from the moment you became mine. The world offers calm only when circumstances are favorable. Yet I give you peace even when the storm is roaring. Therefore, my beloved child, hold firmly to this truth within your heart wherever I am present. Fear has no authority, and when you live in my presence, peace will no longer be something you are searching for. It will become the very breath of your soul. Before any words of petition are lifted up, Allow your heart to settle into sacred stillness. Let every noise from the long day fade into the distance. And let your soul open before my presence, like the doors of a temple opening at dawn. Therefore, my child, draw near to me in this moment with your whole heart, and offer the quiet whispers of your soul with deep sincerity. Almighty God, the one who holds the heavens and the earth within the boundless power of your hands, today I come before you with a heart longing for the peace that the world cannot give. Amid the countless voices of life that stir unrest within me, draw my soul back into the place of rest found in your presence. When anxious thoughts attempt to occupy my mind, let the light of your truth shine brightly and drive away every shadow. Teach me to recognize your gentle voice within the noise of the world, so that I will not be carried away by the things that disturb my spirit. May your peace become a strong wall surrounding my soul, so that even when storms rage outside, my heart remains steady in trust. Merciful Father, you who know every hidden concern within me before I am able to speak it, I ask that you heal the places within my soul that are still unsettled by old memories and unspoken fears. At times I have allowed the voice of doubt and disappointment to grow louder than the voice of faith, and because of this I have lost the stillness you desired to give me. Reach into my heart with the tenderness of your love, so that old wounds may be closed, and the burdens I have carried for so long may finally be laid down at your feet. Help me remember that my worth does not come from what I must prove before the world, but from the eternal love you placed upon my life from the very beginning. Gracious Lord, I also give you thanks for the unchanging love you continually show me, even in the days when I am weak. When I lose my direction or question myself, you never turn away. Your love is like a light that never fades, shining even when I walk through the darkest valleys. Today, I thank you for calling me back into the quiet place of the soul and for reminding me that true peace is not found in outward circumstances, but in the assurance that I belong to you. And in this gratitude, I place my entire life into your hands, trusting that you will continue to guide me forward in the light and peace of heaven. I offer this prayer in the holy name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that together we can build a strong and growing community of faith.